Something that causes a lot of Affinity users problems is how to darken the sky in a photo. This is especially true if they've come from a Lightroom background. In Lightroom, you have a linear gradient filter which you can drag over the sky to select and darken it. But in Affinity, it isn't obvious how to do that. So in this video, I'll show you a simple way to darken the sky in an image using the Affinity Fill tool. I'm starting with my photo open in Affinity 3, which is the recent release from Canva. If you're using an earlier version of Affinity Photo, you'll be happy to hear the process is the same. I'm working in the Pixel Studio, which is just like the photo persona in the earlier Affinity Photo. My first step is to add an empty layer to the image by clicking the new pixel layer icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. We then see the new layer added in the panel. The new layer needs to be on top of any of the layers because this is where we're going to apply the fill tool. If it isn't on top, click and drag it into position using your mouse. Once we've applied the adjustments here, you'll be able to add other layers above this one. We just need it to sit on top while we work. I'll also rename this layer to be Gradient so that it's easy to identify. Next, we need to set the layer blend mode to multiply. This is what will cause the sky to darken when we paint on the layer with black. In fact, let's just paint on the image now using a black brush so you can see what happens. As you can see, it makes that area of the image darker. Let's undo that now using the Edit Undo command because we want to use the Fill tool here instead. To use the Fill tool to draw a gradient, make sure the new pixel layer is selected in the Layers panel by clicking the layer. Now click the Fill tool icon in the Tools palette to select it. If you can't see the icon, it may be because one of the other tools in the same group is active. To find it, press G on your keyboard. This selects the icon of the tool in that group and makes it visible. Now click at the bottom right corner of the group where you see the small arrow icon to display the other tools in the group. You can then select the Fill tool. We now need to configure the tool to draw a gradient on the layer using the controls in the toolbar at the top. In the Context drop-down, there are two options. Choose Fill here because we want our gradient to be filled with black. In the Type drop-down, select Linear to draw a linear gradient. We now immediately see the image darken. If you look at the top left of my image, you can see a small stick shape with a circle at each end. This is the gradient control, which I can drag into position using my mouse. An alternative that you might find easier is to click and drag on the image using your mouse. This draws a new gradient to replace the first one. The problem with this gradient now is that it isn't darkening the sky without affecting the ground. That's because we haven't defined the gradient colours yet. To do that, click the Gradient swatch in the toolbar. This opens a dialog where we can see a representation of the gradient line. Click on the circle that represents the top of the gradient to select it. We can then set the colour to be black by clicking the Colour swatch. This opens the Colour Picker tool. My Colour Picker is set to show the colour wheel, so yours may be different. If it is, you can change it at the top to a different display using the drop-down. I'll now use this to set the colour to black, and as I do that, you can see the fill gradient darkening the image. Next, I'll select the other end of the gradient by clicking the other circle in the dialog. Then, click the swatch colour to set that to black as well. This will turn the image black because we filled the entire layer with black. What we need to do is now set the opacity of one end of the gradient to 0. This produces a gradient that runs from black through to transparent, which is reflected in the image now. Now we can move the gradient around to reposition it. If you're wondering what this mark is at the centre of the gradient line, it actually controls the gradient area. Everything is now in place, but the effect doesn't yet appear very natural. There are, though, a few things we can do to fix that. The first is to reduce the opacity slider. This reduces the strength of the effect overall. Possibly a better solution, and one that I prefer, is to change the blend mode to use soft light rather than multiply. The reason I started with the multiply blend mode was really to highlight how different blend modes will produce different effects. You can also use this technique in all kinds of other ways once you understand it. For example, if we selected the ground in the image, we could use the screen blend mode to lighten it. Now there's something important about the effect of this gradient fill on the image. It's also affecting the mountain, making the colour look too intense. Ideally, we want to remove the mountain from the selection. Now, before we do this, be sure to get the gradient into the correct position that you're happy with. You'll see why this is important in a moment. We now want to use the Object Selection tool to select the mountain. You'll find this in the Tools palette. It's another of the tools that's part of a group, so one of those may be visible instead. After selecting the tool, I'll click the background layer containing my image. If I left the layer containing the gradient active, the tool wouldn't be able to find the mountain. You need to have the image layer selected in order for it to do its work. Now, when I position the mouse pointer over the mountain, it's highlighted by green hash marks. I can then click once to select it. We then see marching ants around the area to indicate what's selected. My next step is to select the gradient layer in the Layers panel. I'll then add a mask to the layer by clicking the mask layer icon at the bottom. This adds a mask to the layer which has been created from the active selection. If you haven't used masks a lot, this is a standard feature and something that's incredibly useful. Now, before we go any further, we need to clear the active selection. If we don't, it's going to cause us problems later. To clear it, click the Pixel menu, then the Pixel Selection submenu, followed by the Deselect option. The marching ants will then vanish, and we're left with our gradient layer affecting the mountain but not the sky. This is because our mask is the opposite of what we want. To invert it, we just right-click on the mask thumbnail in the Layers panel. Then in the pop-up menu, select the Invert Mask option. At this point, you may see edges appear around the adjustments that make it obvious that we've done some editing. We can blend these away though very easily by painting on the mask using a soft black paintbrush. Now that the adjustment looks natural, let's talk about why we need to get the gradient into position before selecting the area to create the mask. If I reselect the Fill tool, you'll be able to see what's happened. It's no longer possible to adjust the gradient. The gradient became rasterized and was locked into position when I changed tools. This also happens when you change layers, so you do need to work carefully. Keep the same layer and the Fill tool active until you're happy with the size and position of your gradient. Now this isn't the only way to create a linear gradient to adjust the sky. You can also do it in the Develop filter, which is the old Develop persona. To see how that's done, watch this video next. And if you're interested in photo editing using Affinity Photo, you'll find lots more tutorials on my Lenscraft website. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you soon for another video.